So here's a little bit about being raised out there, again, Cheyenne country. When I was 6 years old, I asked my father, "Will you give me a horse?" "Yes, you may have any horse of mine that you want, but you must catch him." He gave me a rawhide lariat rope. So there you go. Yo, you want a horse? Cool. Here's a rope. Go catch one. He and my mother and some other people laughed about it, but I took the matter seriously. With the lariat looped and coiled, I went out among the herd to search for horses belonging to my father. So he goes out, he finds a small pony, and eventually he got it, he gets it, he captures it. And when it quieted down, I followed carefully along the line, talking soothingly until it allowed me to pat its neck. After a while, I got its mouth around the lower jaw, the loop of the rawhide, according to the old Indian way of making a bridle. When it had calmed after this new advance, I began to make strokes on its back. Then I tucked the long coil into my belt, the same as I had seen men do, and I climbed quickly upon the animal. It shied, and I fell off. But I still had my rope, this uncoiling from my belt as the pony moved away. I seized the tether and followed again its guidance to the coveted mount. More petting and soothing talk. Another attempt at riding. Off again. Before making a third try, I spent a long time at the gentle taming procedures. Nevertheless, the pony shied and then bucked after I had mounted it. But I grabbed its mane and stuck to my seat. Within a few minutes, I had control. I rode to my father's lodge. "Yes, that is your pony to keep," he told me. Bands of us boys went out at times on horseback to hunt wolves. We had only bows and arrows. We killed many wolves with arrows. My father had given me a good bow and a supply of arrows when I was 9 or 10 years old. We were then in Black Hills country. So, I mean, I know we have people in America definitely that still are hunting at a very young age, but it's pretty cool that you're 6 years old, breaking horses and then out hunting. With bows and arrows, by the way, hunting wolves. It's awesome. So, back to the book. My mother said to me, "We have no meat." Another boy and I set off to hunt. We were about the same age, 15 years old. We each had on a shirt, leggings, and moccasins, all of buckskin or other skin. The leggings had no seat in them, as was the Indian way of clothing the lower limbs. We had no head coverings, nor any mittens for our hands. Although we were accustomed to hardship, this was a cold day for us. We waded and wallowed through snow up to our knees and thighs. So, again, nowadays, we got smart wool hats and Gore-Tex jackets. We just got it so easy. And here you go. You're in moccasins. And you got bare ass. You got a bare ass, and you're just out with some leggings on. Just getting after it in knee-deep snow. Just hardcore, Hardcore. Goes a little, they continue this hunt. And then back to the book, a deer jumped out and stood looking at us. The first shot from my rifle brought it down. We rushed it and cut its throat. We hurriedly cut open the body and jammed our hands inside to get warm. Yeah. The Shoshones, the Crows, and the Pawnees were tribes we fought most during my time of growing up to manhood. So this is another thing that he talks about a lot in this book, is that the Native Americans were fighting each other all the time. They were at war. They were at war with each other. And he talks about that a lot. Back to the book. My own youthful warrior experiences were mostly in combat against the Crows and the Shoshones. One incident out of many in this kind of warfare will show you how it was carried on. A band of Shoshones came at night and stole some of our horses. We were camped on a divide between the upper part of the Tongue River and the Little Bighorn. Snow deep and winter weather. I was 16 years old. I went with the party of Cheyennes who took the trail of the thieves. After traveling all day and into the night, we found a small camp of Shoshones. Most of them, alarmed by their dogs, had fled when we made our attack upon them. But repeated shots kept coming from a single certain lodge. We concentrated our assault on this lodge. 2 Cheyennes were killed and another one mortally wounded before we could suppress this destructive defense. White Wolf, 11 years older than I was, and yet living as my neighbor on Tongue River, was the brave warrior who dealt the final blow to that Shoshone. White Wolf crept along the ground into the lodge. He had in his right hand a 6-shooter. It was totally dark in there, and he fumbled about the interior seeking whomever he might find. His gun bumped into somebody, and he pulled the trigger. Later developments revealed this was the only occupant of the lodge. The victim was an old man. He was the only Shoshone we killed in that fight, so far as we could learn. But we won the battle and got back on our horses. We cut up the body of the old Shoshone man. We cut off his hands, his feet, his head. We ripped open his breast and belly. I stood there and looked at his heart and liver. We tore down the lodge, built a bonfire of its contents, and piled the remnants of the dead body upon this bonfire. We stayed there until nothing was left but ashes and coals. So these guys are getting after it.